Welcome to the A/B Test Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Magnetic, and we are excited today to talk a little bit about the social platforms. We've been testing a lot lately, testing a lot of everything, every social platform, all the things, all the time.
Yeah.
So, Steve, today this is going to be your
It's my
day to
nightmare.
shine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I spend about 15 hours a day in these platforms. LinkedIn has been traditionally where we talked about, so
Yeah.
I'm personally not going to talk about LinkedIn today. You can.
Okay.
I don't think there's a lot new there that we haven't said, but I think for the sake of time, let's go through each platform, and we're going to talk about Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and then we have time, or we can fit it in. Let's talk about LinkedIn. So think Meta, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and then we'll end with LinkedIn. Those are the four I think that are going to benefit us most. And let's just talk honestly about what we've learned about them, how we use them. I think what the recommendations might be that you can take away and use them a little bit better. I'm going to start with Facebook. How have you traditionally used Facebook as a consumer? It's probably not something you've used a ton, right?
As a consumer, I didn't use it at all for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of new to it again over the last few months.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I didn't use it. It went from seeing friends updates to being kind of 75% dominated by ads and random videos that I didn't order. So
Yeah.
I kind of stopped using it, but I'd be curious about you.
Yeah, I didn't use it at all. I
Yeah.
didn't want to go on it because I just, every time I did, my mom would see me and DM me something, and I would be like, oh gosh, my mom put me on the DM chain. And I say that 50% joking, but like seriously, that isn't the space for me, and it was a distraction.
Yeah.
And so I felt like it would pull me away from like our work, which is kind of maybe sounds not great, but it is. I think Facebook for me, what I've realized is where our audience for the Spotlight Sioux Falls podcast lives. And so we've had to get to know that really well. What I've learned is, you can spin up a really good micro, and what we've learned about building lists is just as important on ads.
Yeah. Most
And it
definitely.
gets, it's harder on ads to target. Like, so I'm just going ahead and say, if you think you're great at outbound, like you're probably going to suck at ads. Unless you're really, really good at building lists, like with segmentation, understanding like how people think and what they're reading. Like that's where we've been successful. I have 74 different interest topics in one thread that's produced most of our leads, right? And I'm not going to share that publicly, but it's not hard if you just do the work to see what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. So intent data essentially is, No.
No, and I don't mean that. I mean, definitely no. Like I'm looking at search history data. Intent data to me says it's search history, but then it says, oh, it's a bunch of other things too, and it doesn't really tell you what it is. So to me, what topics are being searched for is sort of on Google, on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I
and-
thought that's what intent data was. So
No,
help me
no.
understand, because we
Nobody really knows. Intent data is whatever they determine it to be. There is no algorithm. And that's been the biggest problem, and why there's $9 billion in lawsuits against intent data companies right now, because
so Apollo and some of these other places
they won't show you how
tell
they find
you
it.
they get the intent data is like, this is somebody who has searched for this term in the
Maybe.
last 30 days.
How would you know?
But that's what they call it. So I'm curious. Yeah, that's not it. Okay.
Tell me one person who's used intent data that's successful, and I'll change my mind.
Okay. So what you're doing on Meta is something different.
It's a form of intent. There's no intent. I actually searched a topic.
Yeah.
I want to be very clear, and I'm a little passionate about this
Yeah,
because
I
I've
see
wasted
that.
a lot of money on intent before, and people
Yeah.
keep trying to sell it to me, and it's the same response.
Got it.
How do you determine what is intent? I can't tell you that. It's a special algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm done. Like, because I've never had success with it, so now they're just proving that the lawsuits are for a reason. Like, oh, you don't want to disclose it because you don't know.
So the data that those terms that you're using on Meta are things that you have. They're accurate though. Those are working.
They're searching on that platform.
Got it. Okay.
That is significantly different.
That is different.
Yeah.
So okay. So this is helping me understand intent data. When I have looked at from a sales company, when we've had people pitch intent data to us, it has been, oh, here's a list of people who have searched for this term in the last 30 days, and you pay X amount of dollars per person, per lead. And that was what they called intent data. But when you're on Meta, they have searched for that on their Meta platform at some point.
Yes, and where like LinkedIn uses like it's ICP profiles. not what people are looking for. So advertising on there is way different.
Yeah.
Because it's just like sales nav, right? It's just like, what is the filter is not the special interest. So
Sure.
And we also learned that it's 5 times as expensive, which it worked. But for our product set currently, like we cut out of LinkedIn ads pretty quickly because we said it's going to work, but it's going to be
expensive.
too expensive.
Yeah.
So it's a low cost way. Our average cost per lead is, call it, I'm not going to say the dollar amount, but below what it would be if it was at a normal rate.
Yeah.
So I think we want to keep it low. We don't want it to go up. But if we can pay, less than cost of a movie for a lead that turns into a good customer, I think we want to endorse that model and see what we can do. And that's what's happening on Meta, Facebook in particular. Instagram's weird. I will say it's my least favorite one. I want to transition into it. You probably spent in your personal life, at least you share with me, more time on Instagram than you have Facebook in the last year and a half, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I follow certain things, but I haven't bought a lot on Instagram. I don't buy a lot on any of those platforms.
Yeah.
I've never bought anything on TikTok. I don't think I've ever bought anything on Facebook.
Guilty.
I've bought maybe one thing on Instagram that's been pitched to me, maybe once.
I want to back it up. You have I thought you hired a coach on Instagram once, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Didn't you find a guy with parenting advice, you said?
I saw him on Instagram. That's kind of like I did start looking at that, but that's not I didn't click to buy or anything like that. Yeah.
No click to buys. Jeez, you're good.
I don't, but that's just because I don't trust those platforms necessarily for those.
The influencer sort of nature of it. I see.
I know a lot of people do. Like it definitely works for a lot of people.
Local businesses love them some Instagram.
But I did find that coach, the parenting coach, on Insta. Like I saw the shorts, and then I went to his YouTube, and then I researched, and then I followed his podcast. I listened to his podcast. And over time, it was about 5 months of like listening to the podcast. I was like, okay, I think I want to do business with this person. And so I do think it definitely works for different people in different ways.
Yeah, you're right. I have spent the last 2 nights trying to figure out.
You've bought a vacuum on Insta, or was that TikTok?
TikTok, but on Insta with ads and posts, that is the trickiest thing for me right now because it's working better than anything for us. And our Reels format is, for whatever reason, really working.
And different communities. My understanding is there are different communities that are very Facebook heavy, right?
There you go.
I think it looks at the age of your community, like where you're located. We're in the Midwest. We're in a community that has a large percentage of 65 and older.
Yep.
We have there's just the demographic here there's a lot of Facebook. There's still a lot of Facebook and a lot of Instagram. And in other communities, maybe on the coast, it's probably more younger, skews younger and more TikTok, right? But for us, it's definitely Facebook.
I mean, we'll check that out. I think we don't want to limit ourselves. I think we chose the channels that we said, okay, let's start here, and it's already like enough, right? YouTube, I want to go to that because let's take
there's a lot of opportunity there.
Okay, so I just view it as a totally different game, right? Now you have YouTube, which is Google. Right? I just say they're the same thing because they are the same company, really. One's feeding the other. It's the second largest search engine. It is the engine that when you're in Google, you type things in, it serves videos up right away because it knows it wants that you want them and they like that. And that's been wild to me to see how Sioux Falls is watching YouTube, but there's not a lot of content. So I'm talking about one city in particular. But if you think about, Melissa, I had to zoom out. Like we have understood local ads pretty well. National ads, different game, right? Because now you're dealing with so many more people. And I heard a quote that as we're talking about YouTube would really blow a lot of people's mind. Half the people that have ever been alive are alive right now. There's 700 million people who have ever been alive in this world.
And they're all on YouTube.
350 million of them are alive right now. That's wild. That's exciting.
Well, here's the thing. I'm guilty. I am like obviously one of the weird ones because I didn't ever intentionally go to YouTube, but all of our kids do. And you did. You would search for things on YouTube. I didn't use YouTube as a search engine, but a lot of people do.
Yes, I think I did. I was similar to you, but when I found out, I became obsessed, of course, because I made it like my top left icon on my mobile phone because I was like, how do I understand
What would often happen to me is I would search for something in Google and a YouTube video would get served up occasionally. It wasn't always, but it was like, 30 to 40% of the time it'd be a YouTube video.
Yeah.
So then I'd click on it. But that was how I had interacted with YouTube. And now I see it as a whole different ballgame because that's where all your content is, all your shorts and reels are. That's how people find you. And then you can use those in other places.
The cool part, I think, about what we've learned with YouTube is when we have a channel that's not about us.
Yeah.
Because this podcast, right? We're pretty smart. We talk about good things. Like this channel is ultimately, and we did this intentionally. It's kind of us talking about us, right?
Yeah.
That channel about other people,
yeah.
right? Takes off to the sky. Not that this is different intentions, right? But that's where I think the compounding effort, if you're really looking for impressions, you got to use the other people to help get to your stuff. And that's the community. I think that's what I'm learning about YouTube is how do you cross-pollinate content on your own channel with other creators, with other people on podcasts. You're starting to really pick your podcast team up in the little time to next to no time you have, but it's important.
Right. And I think one thing that is, is you think about agencies who have built video over the years, people would spend a lot of money making a video, $10,000 or more on this big, beautiful produced thing. And they, it'd be a one and done. In YouTube, you can put something up there. You can there's a lot to it regarding how do I make sure that it's searchable? How do I use the right key terms? How do I reverse engineer my video so that I'm finding the right audience? There's all kinds of tricks and tips that we now know that others you don't want to just like whip up a channel and throw stuff on there and have it be like kind of half-assed because you're going to get exactly that back. So there is a lot of intention and structure to building it out in the right way. And I think we learned by doing really on YouTube.
Our thumbnails are getting a lot better. I think that let's nerd out for a second.
It's the thumbnail, it's the title, it's the look of the thumbnail and the words that are on the thumbnail.
But for people who don't know thumbnails, let's break those down. What is a thumbnail?
Tell them. Thumbnail is what you see when you search for a video. It's that little
size of a thumbnail.
Yeah, it's the little rectangular picture that has sometimes some words on it. That is what you click on to see the video.
So why is that so important?
Because that's what people look at when they decide. It's sort of like in the if you go into a bookstore, you look at the cover and you're like, am I going to buy that book?
Yeah.
And it's terrible because unless you know that's the book you want to buy, unless you've heard like you need to read this, we judge a book by a cover. They tell you not to, but that's how we do the same thing with YouTube thumbnails. We decide if we're going to click and watch this video based on that thumbnail. So you have to have it be good. If your book cover's not great, if your thumbnail's not great, nobody's going to click and read it.
I like
or
what you
watch
said.
It.
I haven't thought about it like this. So a book is going to get you to open it. I usually read the first page. First page is good. I'm going to read the rest.
Is it juicy? Am I going to keep reading?
No, I open the rest of the book. That's a very simple way to explain it to my parents. I like it.
Well, you look at the book and you usually look at the back.
Oh, see, I don't read a lot of books.
Is what people do. Yeah.
A lot of YouTube.
But in YouTube, people will look at the thumbnail and then sometimes they'll look at the title and what's in the title. But that's so those things need to be optimized. And we do that for people. They don't even realize half the time that we're doing that. But that's how we make sure that you are visible and findable.
And then the words in the body and then the content itself, kind of in that order, right? Like the content's always the most important thing, but if they don't get to that, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
Shorts don't have a thumbnail. The most important thing is the first 1 second, not the first 3. And this is where I think we're not even coaching people on that because their brains would explode, right? But like we're going to edit.
Steps.
We're going to edit to that as well as we can. But you and I know it's just got to be boom on deliver. Like you have to, deliver. You got to get people to
intense. Intense.
You got to deliver. And then I think the other thing on YouTube that I would kind of, as we wrap up here, think about is if you overhook and you don't deliver.
Yeah, you don't want to do that, or people won't. Yeah, they will not come back to your channel because they think you're just they're clickbait. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
For example, so Jenny Downey, great realtor. We had Spotlight Sioux Falls. We could have put like the #1 realtor who has the secrets you're dying to know. But instead it was, I don't remember what it was.
We actually did reverse engineer hers. So we looked to see what realtors, the top YouTube videos, what they deliver on. It usually is things about the secret neighborhoods, the best neighborhoods, things to do in that city. And so we actually reverse engineered her videos when we went to meet with her, like talk about your favorite neighborhoods, talk about the secret place that most people don't know about that's going to be a great investment in 5 to 10 years. And then we made thumbnails according to that so that she could be found easily because we knew that's what was hot, essentially.
Yeah. You know what the biggest surprise was for me? And then this is it for me. And I want to hear your biggest surprise in terms of like, we made it, we thought this then happened. I called it out to you, and I remember just thinking, like, I don't even know why I'm saying this, but Sandra Melstead, episode 2, drove right to the top with some really
again research on that one.
Yep.
So we researched
Yep.
what do the public health experts say,
Yeah.
and what are the things that they talk about. And she had one quote in her episode where she said, "Here's the thing we always say in public health, that we save your life every day and you don't even know it." And we used that
Yep.
and her clip, and that's why it drove up. So it was research. It was all orchestrated. Maybe people don't realize that.
I love that. And that is, yeah, that's the stuff nobody wants to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
And we even struggle to make the time. We make the time, right? But if we struggle to make the time to think about it,
Yeah.
you're going to struggle too. So if you're looking for some advice, watch his show again. And I think, Caleb's a great dude with the Video Lab, and he puts out great content about video.
I read Caleb's email each week, and it's really there's great tips in there. So I would say definitely follow the Video Lab and Caleb for some of those tricks and tips. But the thumbnail is everything. Like you said, that's going to get him in the door. But if the book is bad, you're not going to finish it. If the video is bad, so you want to make sure that what you're talking about, you can kind of reverse engineer your content in a way that, what are the things that I want to talk about that are going to be important for my audience? And I can make sure that you don't have to script it out, but you want to make sure you deliver on that promise of the thumbnail in your video.
You know what's so funny as we wrap up, this is all the stuff they taught us in sales too, make it about them, not you. It's just like
what's in
life's
it for
theme.
me? Remember Dale Carnegie?
Yes.
Tune into WIIFM. What's in it for me?
I think the life lesson is like, make it about other people and your life will be pretty sweet, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to wrap it up. So we talked about Facebook, we talked about Instagram, we talked about YouTube.
We didn't talk about LinkedIn yet.
We didn't talk about LinkedIn. Let's hit it real quick.
Okay,
Let's hit it real quick.
LinkedIn, and I know I can tell I'm about to get in a war with LinkedIn.
Ooh.
No, not the company, but like go back to it and say like, I'm gonna own this one too. Like, or we're gonna own this one too. I've just been watching it because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me right now. I'm trying to understand like why I'm being fed what I am instead of like me feeding it out and then getting frustrated or whatever.
I think it's the same thing, Steve. I think it's finding other people to snowball on your content and tag them and have them tag you back. And it's all about the community and getting the vibes, right?
Well, early stages would say yes. We've gone 200% up just by me posting the spotlight stuff. So not about me, us, it's about them. So I think you're right.
The more you can involve other people, I mean, it's good. You want good content. You want a good content strategy. But the more you can partner with others and lean on others and have them lean on you, the better off you're going to be, I think, on all the platforms, right?
I'm going to lean on you, Melissa.
Boom. I like it.
Let's lean on each other.
All right.
We kind of have been.
Peace out, A/B test.
Peace.